Welcome to Bogle. Here we are at the Bogle Tasting Room. We're going to talk with Eric about the cork closure and its role in our sustainability message from Bogle Vineyards. Eric, let's open one of these bottles.
You were talking about sustainability. A natural cork is a very sustainable product. The CO2 sink, that is the Portuguese cork forest, is enormous. It's probably the most carbon neutral or negative industry in the world. These corks are actually naturally punched straight from the bark of a tree. It's a fascinating, very natural operation. There's people out there with axes by hand cutting down the middle of the tree where the bark is and basically grab the bark and unwrap it right off of the tree.
And it doesn't damage the tree?
No, it doesn't damage the tree at all. It's a renewable resource in that they don't fell the tree. They just cut the bark off of it, and then the bark grows back in 8 to 12 years, and they cut it off again.
It's great that cork is a natural, sustainable closure, but why are so many people moving away from raw cork, and why have you chosen for so many years to use cork as our closure?
Not only is it sustainable, it's just a great closure in itself. The physical properties of the cork. Its elasticity, it has the ability to transmit just a tiny bit of oxygen, much like the barrels. It's called the passive oxidation through the cork into the wine. It's infinitesimal amount of the oxygen that can come through a cork, but it's enough to help develop bouquet and preserve the wine. A natural cork also is just traditional. Our customers expect it. They know it's a good value, but they also know that we do things in a traditional way. And a natural cork, as you saw, when I put that auger into this cork and pull it out, that's a great presentation. It almost marks a celebration. It always, it's always a good sound when you hear the pop of a cork coming out of a bottle.
I want to hear it again.
I know. Well, we'll open another one.
So tell me about this issue of corkiness or corked wines.
Yeah. Cork taint, or when someone might say a wine's corked, is when there's been this mold that infected the cork bark called TCA, trichloroanisole. It is so, you smell it in nature all the time. It smells a bit like chlorine in like an indoor swimming pool next to a gym locker. Or you might think of like a damp basement with a bunch of old wet newspapers. TCA is perceptible to the normal person at about 6 parts per trillion. That's like a drop of water in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Very, very potent. I mean, it can completely dominate a wine. It's not so offensive that people think, oh, this wine's terrible. But what it can do is it can make people just think not much of the wine. They might just say, oh, there's not a lot of fruit here. This isn't very Cabernet-like, and then that problem can really cause damage to your brand. They've come so far with some of these products like this 1+1 cork that we use that there's almost zero incidence of TCA.
I was going to say, I've opened a lot of Bogle wines, and I can't think of the last time I encountered a corked wine.
Yeah, I rarely do too. And so having the physical properties of cork, supporting such a sustainable industry, and having a traditional closure with no TCA is just a win-win situation for us. It lends quality to our wine and our package, and it helps us support an industry that we really like.
Well, speaking of win-win, congratulations on fantastic winemaking and fantastic wines. You recently received 91 points for the Essential Red, 90 points for your Pinot Noir from Wine Enthusiasts. Beverage Tasting Institute gave you 91 points on the Chardonnay, 90 points on the Cab, and really just fantastic winemaking. The wines are remarkable, and it's important to note that you trust the cork closure to close your wines.
Those great scores kind of reward all the hard work put in by all the winemaking team, the cellar workers, our bottling crew, our viticulture team. We're really humbled by such recognition from some great publications. So to that, I think we should have a little toast. Here's to Bogle.
Here's to 100% cork.